Imagine you were just staring at your website analytics dashboard, right?
Right.
And the traffic line is just, well, it is hovering.
Oh, yeah, a complete flat line.
Exactly. It is a flat line. Day after day, just a slow, painful trickle of visitors.
It is the absolute worst feeling for any content creator.
It really is. But now, imagine flipping just a single switch and watching that number instantly triple.
Wait, 3 times the visits?
Yeah, 3 times more visits and like 3 times the dwell time too, just by changing one specific element of how you deliver your existing content.
Which is just a staggering metric when you really think about it.
It is. But that is the reality of the digital landscape right now. Bloggers who integrate video into their written posts are experiencing up to a 300% increase in traffic.
In a zero-sum attention economy, where every single platform is engineered to steal your focus, a 3 times multiplier isn't just a slight edge.
Right. It's massive.
It is a fundamental shift in user behavior. It forces a complete reevaluation of how we publish content today.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this isn't about chasing some fleeting digital trend or, doing a silly dance for clicks.
Definitely not.
We are looking at a hardwired shift in how human beings actually want to learn, process, and engage with information.
Yes, the core psychology of it.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive today is to figure out exactly why video is such a massive, undeniable traffic driver.
And we have some great research to pull from.
We do. And we're also going to break down how a new wave of AI tools is making it incredibly easy for anyone, and I mean anyone, to harness this power. You don't need a film degree, and you certainly don't need a massive production budget anymore.
No, the barrier to entry is basically gone. But to understand why that 300% multiplier even exists, we have to start with the hardware, right? The human brain.
Okay, I love this. Let's get into the psychology.
Why does the brain instinctively prefer a dynamic video over, say, a massive wall of text? It all comes down to cognitive load and multisensory processing.
Yeah, and it takes actual work to read.
Exactly. When you present information visually and auditorily at the exact same time, you are engaging dual processing channels.
So you get the picture and the sound simultaneously.
Right. You aren't forcing the audience to mentally decode abstract symbols, which, if you think about it, is all reading really is into concepts. You are delivering the concept directly to them.
So it's basically about reducing the friction between the idea and the audience's understanding of that idea.
Precisely. Visual media evokes powerful emotions almost instantly. It can illustrate these really complex abstract concepts in a fraction of a second.
Do you have an example of that from the research?
Yeah, think about trying to explain a complex software workflow in writing. You could write, 5 paragraphs detailing every single click, every drop-down menu, the settings toggles.
Oh, man, I hate reading those tutorials.
We all do, because by paragraph 3, the reader's cognitive load is completely maxed out. They are exhausted.
Right.
Or you can just use a video to dynamically demonstrate the process. You add some visual highlights, a quick voiceover, and it takes 15 seconds.
And the brain just absorbs it effortlessly.
Because it mirrors how we learn in the physical world. We learn by watching and listening.
I love thinking about it this way. Relying purely on static text is kind of like reading a really detailed restaurant menu.
Oh, that is a great analogy.
Right. Like, you can read the description of a perfectly seared steak, the peppercorn sauce, the roasted asparagus. You intellectually understand that it's going to taste good.
Sure, you get the idea of the meal.
But video is like walking directly into the kitchen. You actually smell the food, you hear the sizzle in the pan, you watch the chef plating it.
It is an immersive, experiential moment.
Exactly. It completely bypasses the analytical, decoding part of your brain and goes straight for the sensory emotional centers.
And what's fascinating here is how that multisensory engagement directly alters user behavior on a web page.
How so?
Well, when people absorb information with that level of ease, and when they are experientially hooked, they simply do not leave the page.
They stick around longer.
Way longer. The cognitive fatigue is gone, the dopamine from the visual stimulation is high, and they actually begin to feel a parasocial connection with the creator.
Because they hear a voice or see a face.
Yes. They see a style, they hear a tone, and that psychological comfort translates directly into massive spikes in user retention. They feel a sense of community, which makes them want to return.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
If reading requires more active mental participation, isn't that a deeper form of learning? Are we just catering to a shrinking attention span by giving people this visual shortcut?
That is a common pushback, But it is less about a shrinking attention span and more about efficiency in a high-noise environment.
High noise meaning there's just too much content out there.
Exactly. If a user lands on your page, they are usually trying to solve a specific problem or answer a question. Text requires them to invest significant time before they even know if you have the answer.
That makes sense. You have to skim 3 paragraphs just to see if it's the right article.
Right. But video provides immediate microcues, the tone of voice, the visual context, the pacing. It instantly signals to the viewer, yes, you are in the right place, and here is the solution.
Which perfectly transitions us to the other side of this equation. We've got the human element figured out. People love the sizzle. They want to be in the kitchen.
They do.
But the humans aren't the only ones watching your blog. The algorithms are monitoring all of this behavior, and they are rewarding it disproportionately.
This is where human psychology and machine learning create this massive feedback loop. Search algorithms do not just crawl the text on your page anymore to see if you use the right keywords.
They're way smarter than that now.
Much smarter. They actively monitor how human beings react to your page. They are looking at dwell time, meaning how long a user stays on your site after clicking the search result.
And they are looking at Pogosticking, right?
Yes, Pogosticking is a huge negative signal.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I always think of the Google algorithm like a strict bouncer at a very exclusive club.
Okay, I like where this is going.
That bouncer is constantly looking inside the club to see what the vibe is. If people walk in off the street, take one look around, and immediately walk back out, that's Pogosticking.
Right, bouncing back to the search result.
Exactly. The bouncer sees that and thinks, wow, the music must be terrible in there. And he stops letting people in. Your ranking plummets.
Because the user experience was bad.
But if people walk in and stay for 20 minutes, the bouncer assumes it's the best party in town and starts actively ushering everyone in from the sidewalk. Video is the DJ that keeps people at the party.
That is a highly accurate visualization of algorithmic behavior. Video is the ultimate anti-Pogosticking tool.
Because it just grabs your eye immediately.
Yes. When a page loads and there is dynamic movement, like a video player, the human eye is instinctively drawn to it. They click play.
And they are trapped in a good way.
Right. Now, instead of scanning a wall of text for 3 seconds and bouncing, they are sitting there for 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes. To your bouncer, that massive spike in dwell time is a flashing green light that your content is highly authoritative.
And the reward from the bouncer isn't just keeping your text article high in the search results, right? The video itself becomes its own asset.
Exactly. Videos frequently bypass traditional text results entirely. They appear in rich snippets and those dedicated video carousels right at the top of the search page.
Oh, I click on those all the time.
We all do. But there is a mechanical catch here. A search engine cannot watch a video like a human does. It relies on the context you provide.
Like the titles and tags.
Yes, it parses the metadata. The title, the relevant tags, the description, even the thumbnail matters. But more importantly, modern algorithms use natural language processing.
To do what exactly?
To read the auto-generated transcripts of your video. And they use optical character recognition, or OCR, to read the actual text you put on the screen inside the video.
Wait. So if I have a video about, say, fixing a leaky faucet, the algorithm is literally reading the text I overlay on the video frames to confirm the topic.
Yes, it is. The machines are analyzing the visual frames and the audio track to categorize the content before a human even clicks play.
That is incredible.
And this algorithmic parsing is even more critical on social platforms. Think about Instagram or TikTok, where the rules of engagement shift entirely.
Because it's a totally different environment than a blog.
Exactly. If you are repurposing your deep dive blog content for social media, you have to engineer it for that specific feed. The pacing must be faster, the hooks must happen in the first 2 seconds, and you absolutely must have burned in captions.
Because the vast majority of users are scrolling on the bus or, in a waiting room with their phones on silent.
Right.
If your video relies entirely on audio, it's just silent moving pictures to them. They'll swipe right past it.
Precisely. The sources are very clear on this. Without captions, you lose a massive percentage of your potential audience instantly. The captions hook the eye during a silent scroll.
And then you add in engagement tactics, right?
Yes. You combine those captions with clear verbal calls to action directing them to comment or like or share. You use relevant hashtags. That creates the algorithmic velocity needed for virality.
Okay, I see the mechanics of the algorithms, and I see why humans prefer the multisensory experience. But this brings us to a massive, glaring roadblock.
Let's hear it.
If video is the ultimate key to human engagement and the ultimate algorithmic multiplier, why isn't every single blogger actively doing it? Is the written blog dead? Are we just writing eulogies for text right now?
Let's address the second part of your question first. The written word isn't dead at all. Its role is just evolving.
Evolving how?
Think of your written blog as the deep foundational architecture. It's the master thesis. The video is the dynamic front door. It provides a frictionless entry point.
Ah, so they work together.
Synergistically, yes. Someone might find your short video on social media, get hooked by the concept, and then click through to read your 3,000-word blog post for the granular detail.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
As for why everyone isn't doing it, historically the barrier to entry has simply been too punishing.
Right. The time, the money, the steep learning curve. Historically, you needed a DSLR camera, a boom mic.
A full 3-point lighting setup.
Yeah. And then you had to teach yourself how to navigate incredibly complex, intimidating editing software. You're sitting there managing multiple audio and visual timelines.
It was a complete nightmare for someone whose primary skill is just writing good content.
Which logically brings us to the modern solution. Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
The advent of advanced AI tools isn't just making video production slightly faster, it is fundamentally dismantling the barrier to entry entirely.
We are talking about automated pipelines that turn text into polished video in minutes. It's revolutionary.
So how does that actually work mechanically?
Yeah.
If I have a written blog post, I'm not just pasting it into a text box and getting a Hollywood movie out the other side, am I?
Not a Hollywood movie, no, but a highly engaging piece of content. Mechanically, you just feed your blog post URL into an AI video generator.
Just the URL.
Just the link. The AI uses natural language processing to analyze your text, extract the core arguments, and summarize them into a conversational script. It strips out all the heavy, dense
That
paragraphs.
saves so much time.
It does. Then it uses sentiment analysis to understand the tone. It asks, is this a serious financial article or is it a fun travel piece?
And it uses that sentiment to pick the visuals.
Exactly. It scans massive databases of stock footage and B-roll. It matches the metadata of the video clips to the keywords and the sentiment of your script. It stitches those clips together automatically.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And what about the voice?
It layers on an AI voiceover, which, by the way, today sounds incredibly natural. It has realistic breathing and cadence. And finally, it uses waveform analysis to automatically cut the video scenes to the exact beat of the background music.
Wait, it does the editing for you based on the audio waveform?
Yes.
That is crazy. And you don't even need the expensive gear anymore. The sources mentioned you could just shoot the A-roll like the talking head part on your smartphone.
Your phone is more than enough now.
You just upload it to a cloud-based AI editor and let the software remove the background, enhance the audio, and pop in the B-roll automatically.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the true democratization of content. The AI handles the rendering, the color grading, the audio syncing, and the captioning.
It handles all the tedious stuff.
All of it. It lowers the barrier to entry so dramatically that creators can focus entirely on their strategy and their storytelling. You no longer have to stare at a blank screen or an empty editing timeline.
Because you already have the foundational knowledge in your blogs.
Right. Now you are just using AI to repurpose it into a format the algorithms actually want to push.
But I have to push back here.
Okay.
If an AI is summarizing my blog, writing the script, picking the B-roll, generating the voice, and cutting the footage, doesn't the creator risk completely losing their unique voice? Don't we just end up flooding the internet with a sea of generic, robotic, AI-generated sludge?
That is a very real risk if you use these tools passively.
Passively meaning you don't edit it at all.
Exactly. If you just click generate and publish the very first draft the AI spits out without any curation, yes, it will feel soulless. But you have to view AI as a friction remover, not a replacement for your taste.
You are still the one in charge.
You are still the director. The AI is just your incredibly fast production crew. You tweak the script to inject your specific humor. You swap out a piece of B-roll for something more specific to your brand.
So it's a collaborative process.
Very much so.
Yeah.
By offloading the technical grunt work, the cutting, the syncing, the rendering, the AI actually frees up your mental bandwidth. You can focus entirely on the creative direction and that emotional storytelling we talked about earlier.
It amplifies your voice by removing the technical hurdles that previously kept you silent.
Perfectly said.
I really like that framing. You are the director, not the grip, carrying the heavy cables around the set.
Exactly.
So let's say AI tools. They repurpose their blog, they publish the video, and the traffic starts flowing. The journey isn't over there. How do they actually know what is working and what isn't?
That leads us directly to the final and perhaps most critical piece of the puzzle, AI-driven analytics. Measuring success is absolutely essential.
But we aren't just looking at view counts, right?
No, we have to move way beyond vanity metrics. A simple view count tells you almost nothing about the effectiveness of your video. You need to look at audience retention graphs.
Are you talking about the graph that shows how many people are still watching at any given second of the video?
Exactly. When you look at an absolute audience retention curve, you almost always see a hockey stick drop-off in the first 5 to 10 seconds.
That's a steep cliff.
Yes, that is where users decide if the video matches their search intent. If 50% of your audience bounces in the first 6 seconds, your hook is weak. The AI didn't fail. Your initial premise failed to capture them.
So what does this all mean? It means you use the data to actively engineer your content.
Precisely.
If you see a massive localized drop-off at the 2-minute mark, you look at what happened in the video right there. Did you go off on a tangent? Did you start talking about a sponsor?
Yes. You use the analytics to identify exactly where the cognitive load got too high or the entertainment value dropped. Modern AI analytics tools can even A/B test different video hooks or thumbnails simultaneously.
Oh, wow, so it tests them live.
Yes, and it feeds the winning combination to the majority of your audience automatically. Furthermore, tracking these metrics alongside conversion rates like, did they actually click the link or subscribe to the newsletter, helps you evaluate the true return on investment for your video marketing efforts.
It's not just throwing a video into the void and crossing your fingers. You are entering a continuous intelligent feedback loop.
A loop of creating, measuring, and improving.
You create the video using AI production tools, you measure the human response using AI analytics, and then you surgically improve the next video based on that hard data.
This raises an important question about the modern content creator. The true power of AI in this space isn't just its ability to render a flashy video quickly.
It's the data.
It is its ability to relentlessly, objectively analyze audience preferences. You are no longer guessing what your audience wants or what makes them click away.
The data is explicitly telling you.
Exactly. And the AI production tools give you the speed and agility to adapt your content in real time based on that data. You are building a deeply targeted, highly loyal community through rapid iteration.
That is incredibly clarifying. Let's summarize this journey for everyone listening.
Sounds good.
Integrating video into your written blogs has the power to triple your traffic because it perfectly aligns with two massive forces simultaneously.
The psychology and the algorithm.
Right. First, it hooks the multisensory processing preference of human psychology. It lowers cognitive load and brings people into the kitchen, so to speak. Second, because humans dwell on the page longer, it deeply satisfies the engagement metrics demanded by search and social algorithms.
It keeps the bouncer happy.
Keeps the bouncer very happy. And while creating this video used to be a daunting, technically punishing task, AI tools have completely democratized the process. You can now seamlessly repurpose your existing written knowledge into dynamic visual content, acting as the director of your own automated production team.
And as we look to the horizon, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We've talked about AI taking your text and generating a video for you to publish.
Right, the current state of things.
But AI generation is becoming increasingly sophisticated, moving toward real-time photorealistic rendering. As these models get exponentially faster, we have to wonder about the fundamental nature of a website itself.
What do you mean?
Will the traditional front-facing text blog eventually become entirely invisible to the general public? Will your brilliantly written words simply serve as the underlying source code that an AI reads in real time in order to instantly generate a completely customized, dynamically rendered video feed for each individual visitor the exact moment they land on your site?
Wow. Your written blog, acting as the invisible source code for a bespoke, real-time video experience. The text doesn't die. It just becomes the DNA for the video.
It's a fascinating possibility.
That is wild to think about, and it shows exactly how fast this digital landscape is moving. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
If you're sitting there looking at a flatlined analytics dashboard, it is time to pivot. Take this knowledge, apply it to your digital strategy, and remember, don't just force your audience to read the menu. Get them into the kitchen. We'll catch you next time.